Hi guys, Sarah here and welcome to Novel Expectations. Today I'm coming to you with weeks 10 through 13 of my weekly wrap-ups for 2016. I know, I'm amalgamating a bunch of them together, and that's because you guys have probably noticed you have not seen a video on this channel in about a month. I needed to take a break. There's been a lot of stuff that's been happening to me and the family in the last few months that I just felt the need to step away from a lot of things. Not that it had anything to do with this or with my knitting podcast or anything like that, because that I haven't filmed a video for in about a month either. But there's just been a lot of stuff going on, and I'm going to share just a little bit of it with you guys. I hope you don't mind. I know this is generally not the type of video or these types of videos that we share personal, but I just kind of feel the need to not explain, but maybe talk about it. So at the end of January, we had to put down my cat Logan. He was 8. Almost 9, and he was diabetic. We didn't know, pretty much, until it was too late. And by the time we got him to the vet pretty much told us she didn't think he was going to make it through the night. The day before, he was jumping and running and playing and eating and doing all those wonderful things, and then the next day it was just, his little heart couldn't take it anymore, whatever it was. They couldn't bring his heart rate back up, and that was the hard thing. So that was absolutely horrendous for me to go through. He was my cat. I got him right from a kitten from the time he could leave his mother, him and his brother, and just heartbreaking. So that was really, really difficult. But, I kind of still did this and tried to keep my life as normal as possible, even though we didn't have him anymore. So a few weeks after he died, his brother, Goran, began acting, he wasn't acting out. He was used to having his brother around to play with at 4 o'clock in the morning. And because Logan wasn't here anymore, he decided it was time for us to play at 4 o'clock in the morning, which didn't work so well with our work schedules. So my husband and I went to the Toronto Humane Society and we adopted another cat, which was a good thing. His name is Nicholas. He's absolutely adorable, little black and white tuxedo cat. And they're getting along okay. So towards the end of February, Goran got sick. And, my heart just broke again. I thought, please, after going through it once, I don't know if I could survive going through it a second time. So off we carted him to the vet, too. And it turns out, yes, he does have something, but it was completely treatable, and he is asthmatic. So twice a day, we have to give my cat 2 puffers. So that's been fun. Plus, along with all of that, both Garrett and I, my husband, our work schedules completely, not completely changed, but changed. So we've been trying to deal with the new schedule and all that stuff, and after my birthday at the beginning of March, I just kind of had to put up my hands and say, I need to step away from things and I need to take a break and decide what is important to me and what I still want to continue doing, and I've missed doing this so much. I was going to film a quick little Where Have I Been video last week, but just didn't get time to do it. After work during the week is difficult because I actually don't finish work till 7, which means I don't get home from work till 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. So, it's kind of hard for me to do stuff on a weeknight. This is Sunday morning, and this is when I film all my videos for the week, and then, edit them as the week goes on. So anyway, that's where I've been. That's what's happened. So I appreciate you guys who are still subscribed and who still, were watching and commenting. I really do appreciate it. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the wrap-up. So, challenges. Let's talk about that first. So, the first challenge is my A to Z Authors Challenge, and I have done 13 out of 26 authors, so putting me at 50%. For the A to Z Title Challenge, I've also done 13 out of 26, which also 50%. For the 2016 How Many Pages Challenge, so far this year I have read 7,185 pages out of 25,000 pages, which for the end of March puts me, or almost end of March, puts me at 29%, which is actually really good. I should be at about 25%, so I'm a little bit above that, so that's fantastic. And I believe, according to Goodreads, I am 2 books ahead of schedule. I forgot to mark that down, so I do apologize. So, and for the Jelly Belly Jelly Bean Challenge, no, I still haven't completed any flavors yet. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to go week by week for the dates that I should have filmed these, and talk about the books that I read. So in week 10, which was March the 6th, which was the day after my birthday, I finished The New Girl by R.L. Stine. I gave that book 3 stars. It is the first book in the Fear Street series, and I enjoyed it. Again, I think I mentioned this before. the Fear Street series isn't a series I read a lot as a kid, so these are all sort of new to me. And it was really cute. It was kind of fun. It wasn't overly scary, but then again, I'm not one who reads anything like Stephen King or Dean Koontz. I don't like to be scared when I'm reading. So, this book was just right up my alley. It had just the right amount of scariness to mystery, which was fantastic. Now on to week 11, which would have finished on March 13th. I finished a book called The Darling Songbirds by Rachel Herron. I gave this book 5 stars. This was actually going to be the book that I was going to do a full review on in the month of March, but unfortunately, that didn't happen. I loved this book. I highly recommend anyone who's a fan of contemporary romance, please go and check this book out from Amazon. It was absolutely fantastic. It was about a woman named Adele who came back to her family's kind of hometown because she inherited a bar and restaurant and hotel from her uncle who just passed away. So she's dealing with that along with a love interest with a guy who works at the bar. He's the bartender. What was his name? Oh my gosh, I read this book a while ago. I want to call him Lee because anyone else who listens to country music and knows who Lee Brice is, when the author described how he looked, that's exactly who I had pictured in my head. I know that's not actually his name in the book, and I do apologize, but that's who I picture him as. Country music plays a really big part in this book because the lead character was the lead singer, I guess, for a band with her and her sisters. Now, the only thing about this book that I didn't like, but I did not decrease the star rating for, was that they really didn't tie up the loose ends that had to do with her sisters. And I'm hoping that means the author is going to come back with a sequel. I haven't heard anything about that, haven't read anything about that, but that's something I would love to see because I just love this book. I love the characters again. Highly, highly recommend it. Please check it out. Week number 12, which ended on March the 20th. I finished 3 books that week, and the first one was Summer at Willow Lake by Susan Wiggs. I gave that book 5 stars. This is one I listened to on audiobook. This was a reread for me. I love this story. It is absolutely fantastic. Again, if you're a fan of contemporary romance, please do yourself a favor and read this book. It is the beginning of the Lakeshore Chronicles series, and you don't need to read these books in any particular order, but they are absolutely wonderful. This is about a woman named Olivia who goes back to the summer camp that she used to attend as a child. It's actually owned by her grandparents, and she's been enlisted to revamp the camp, essentially, for her grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. The man she hires as the contractor to help, his name is Connor, and unbeknownst to her at the time that she hires him, he's the same boy that she was in love with when she was younger back at camp. Well, this is a very much an ugly duckling to the Swan type story, where she used to be chubby and didn't really fit in, but now she's, lost some weight and she wears contacts and, the whole 9 yards, right? But it really is a wonderful story. The cast of characters is absolutely fantastic. It focuses on not just Olivia's story, but also on a lot of the backstory, like even going back to when Olivia's father attended camp when he was a boy. So there's a lot of back and forth. It is fantastic. Highly, highly recommend this book. The audio version of it was good. I didn't mind the narrator. She wasn't the best narrator I've ever heard, but I did enjoy her, and I think she narrates the rest of the series, so I'm okay with it. The next book I finished was The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. This is another reread, and I gave this one as well 5 stars again. I am not a huge fan of Regency historical romance, but this series by Julia Quinn I adore. The Britons, this is the first book in the Britons series, and it is about a family with 8 children, and this is the story of Daphne and Simon. And Daphne is the daughter, the Bridgerton daughter, one of them, and Simon is a duke. And it's one of those, they're friends, but they decide to play a trick on everybody and pretend that they're, I don't want to use the term seeing each other because that's something that would be in more modern times. But he's courting her, and it's a whole big farce for her to keep her mother off of her back about finding her a husband, and for him to not have to deal with the mothers and daughters in polite society. Well, it turns into something more, and it becomes a marriage of necessity, if you will, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful story. It is so funny. The reason I like these books so much is because unlike typical Regency romance novels or historical romance novels, they're not stuck up. I find a lot of the Regency can be very stuck up. These are much more down to earth. The family is quote-unquote normal. They joke with each other, they tease each other, and there's jokes made, and it is just fantastic. I absolutely highly recommend this book and this entire series if you can check it out. I am slowly going to be making my way back through the series again, and I'm really looking forward to it. And the last book that I read this week was A Fighting Chance by Shannon Stacy. I gave this book 4 stars. This book was a novella, so it's not very long, and it's a very easy book to get through. It's about a woman who heads off to, I believe it's Foxwoods Resort, just outside Boston. It's not actually named, but the city of Boston is named as being close, so that's my assumption. And she's there for, her best friend is getting married, and it's kind of like a girls' weekend bachelorette party. While there, she runs into an ex-boyfriend, who is now a mixed martial arts fighter, and he's going to be in a fight at this casino over the weekend. And of course, the relationship starts back up between the two of them, excuse me. This book gets very, very spicy, but it's a really cute story. Shannon Stacy is a fantastic author. Check it out. I believe it's only a couple bucks on the Kindle. And now into the books I just finished this week for week 13. The first book I finished this week was Doctoring the Single Dad by Marie Farinella. I gave this book 4 stars. This was a Harlequin special edition novel. It's the first book in the Matchmaking Mama series. It was a really cute story. It was about a woman who's a pediatrician and a single dad whose wife passed away. The daughter is only about 7 months old, so the wife recently passed away. I think she died not long after childbirth. The whole premise of this little series is these 3 mothers who have been best friends are trying to fix up their daughters. That's the one thing that really bothered me about the story, was how involved the mother got, to the point where it was actually beginning to get rude. I'm all for a mother helping her child or helping her children, you know, set them up or something like that, but I felt that this character's mother went just a little bit too far. Again, really cute story. I really enjoyed it. If you like contemporary romance and you like this kind of thing, definitely check it out. And the last book that I finished this week was Claudia and the Phantom Phone Calls by Ann M. Martin. This is the second book in the Babysitter's Club series, and I gave it 4 stars. I actually finished everything that I had for March on my TBR, and grabbed another one of the Back to My Childhood books to read. I read this book in like a day. It's a really, really cute children's story. Pretty much there's a phantom phone caller who's terrorizing people and robbing them, and you know, the kind of shenanigans the babysitters themselves get into, trying to make sure that the phantom caller doesn't get them. It's a really cute story. I can see how for a younger audience it would be that, you know, a little bit of a mystery or scary. I highly enjoyed it. It was a great trip down memory lane. And because it is currently only the 27th of March today, and like I said, I have finished everything on my TBR, I picked up a new book. And the book I am currently reading is Forever Charmed by Rose Presley. I am about 28% of the way through this. This is a super cute little story. I believe I picked this up for free on the Kindle. It's about a woman named Halloween who comes from a long line of witches, and she has inherited her great aunt's mansion that she's turned into a bed and breakfast. And these 2 very strange men have arrived at the mansion, and it's kind of what she's doing to figure out why they're there, and about this mystery book that she's found. So far, it's really, really adorable. I'll let you guys know more about it next week when I finish it. And the other book that I'm currently listening to is Made in America, An Informal History of the English Language in the United States by Bill Bryson. I'm about 33% of the way through this book. I am really, really enjoying this one. I am an English major in college, and from high school and college, and I am a history nut. So you're blending both of these together. This is like the ultimate book for me. Pretty much what it's about is it traces the history of the United States right from like Native American times almost, up until I believe this book was written in the 90s, and how the English language, or the language that's spoken in the U.S., has evolved, and where certain words have come from, and why there are certain phrases that are said. It's highly entertaining. I really, really enjoy it. If you're a fan of the English language, if you're a fan of history, check this book out. The narrator is great. I found it a little bit slow at the very beginning to get into, so I actually sped up the narration, and I've got it going at 2 times, and I'm still being able to understand everything extremely clearly, and it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. Anyway, guys, I do apologize. That was a slightly longer video than what I normally do, but, you know, putting pretty much 4 weeks worth of wrap-ups into one video, that'll happen. I promise I will not be taking a hiatus again anytime in the near future, and I will see you guys in my next video. Take care and happy reading. Bye, guys.